Have you ever completed an NCOER support form? If the answer is no, then it will behoove you to stick around.
Roger, sir.
Welcome back to Roger Sergeant Podcast, where we discuss all things Army. And I'm your host, Sergeant First Class Cruz. And today we're going to be discussing the infamous NCOER Support Form. And without further ado, and without me wasting your time, let's go ahead and get started. Hold on. Before we get started, I need you guys to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. If you're listening to this on the podcast, go ahead and download, leave a review, all that cool stuff. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is what is the NCOER Support Form? The NCOER Support Form is also known as the 2166-9-1 Alpha. It's a document used to support and provide a basis for the evaluation of an NCO performance. The form is completed by the NCO rater and reviewed by the NCO senior rater and used to evaluate all NCOs in the ranks of sergeants to sergeants major. Next thing we're going to talk about is how is the NCOER support form used? So the support form provides an opportunity for the rater to document the NCO's strengths and weaknesses. It identifies areas of improvements, and it sets goals that will lead the professional growth and development of said NCO. The support form is completed at the beginning of the NCO's rating period and is used as a guidance throughout the rating period. And this is going to have the end goal of improving the NCO's overall performance, right? Just so you know, when it says the beginning of a period, let's say I get promoted today and I'm handed off to my rater. That rater has 30 days to complete said NCOER support form. And that's open through EES. And then we go through the steps, right? So the rater must be thorough and objective. And what I mean by thorough and objective is you have to make sure that you remove all your feelings aside, all your, if you have a friendship, if you have a hatred, whatever it is, you have to move that aside and you have to focus simply on what the rated NCO is doing, right? So when you're being thorough and objective when completing the form, the rater also needs to keep in mind that the NCOER is not just a performance evaluation tool, but it's also a tool for the leadership development of said NCO, right? So it's not just here to just give me a report card, but it's also for my leader and or mentor to tell me where I'm doing, what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right, and still provide me with areas of improvement, right? And then the next thing we're going to talk about is what is the importance of the NCOER support form. So the NCOER support form it's vital in the development and providing appropriate career feedback. It also it offers a review for the NCO's development, as we spoke about, and it ensures that the NCO is meeting Army standards, right? Because especially with the NCOERs for sergeants, it's literally a met standard or did not meet standard, right? Because this is your break-in period. This is where you're going to learn how to be the NCO, right? So if you cannot meet standard as that sergeant, it's rough, because you're literally all you have to do is show up and do your job, and you met the standard, right? There are going to be bullets in there as an NCO that you'll probably exceed the standard, but there's no capacity for it. However, you'll be counseled and taught accordingly. Hey, if this were a staff sergeant and above NCOER, you would fall in this category, right? So the NCOER is also used to determine whether the NCO is qualified for promotion and for further service in their current rank. So things that you got to think of is these NCOERs go to these promotion boards later on in your career, right? The general rule of thumb is they only go back 5. However, you don't know. So you want to put your best foot forward on all your NCOERs. I say again, you want to put your best foot forward on all your NCOERs. So let's go ahead and, as promised, let's go ahead and take a look at what an NCOER support form looks like, right? So for those of you who are listening on the podcast, follow along as best possible. When you get a chance, go ahead and transfer over to YouTube, and you will be able to see what I'm talking about, right? So the NCO evaluation support form is just like an NCOER almost. It has your Part 1 administrative data, and you'll see that the NCO being rated is myself, Saeed Cruz. It'll have my social security number or DOD. Obviously, we work with DODs now. And I am a sergeant, right? I'm a newly promoted sergeant. You'll see my date of rank is 230901, so I'm freshly promoted. My 68 Whiskey 20 under Echo P primary MOS. And then obviously you have everything else, which is my unit organization, UIC. It has my my NCOER, my email address. And then you have block I, which is did I complete SSD and the NCOES requirement for the next grade? And that's going to be a no because of the fact that I just got promoted, right? So, and then the next block within there, in block India, I, is going to be military schools and the SSD. My last one was BLC and SSD1, right? Let's say that. Then we'll move over into the part 2, which is going to be authentication. There you're going to have the name of the raider. You're going to have the name of the senior raider. And you're going to have all their information as well. And then you're going to have a next part, which is a supplemental reviewer, right? And the supplemental reviewer is typically going to be that of the commander or someone that is in the rank of E9 and above, 03 and above, and it's a warrant officer 3 and above. So if my senior raider does not meet that qualification, it prompts for a supplemental reviewer. So next thing we're going to talk about is the duty description. And the duty description is very important when it comes to promotion, and I'm going to tell you why. If you look at the duty description, it says principal duty title, and that's going to go according to your MTO position. So my MTO position is healthcare sergeant, and then it's going to say duty MOS, and that's going to be 68 Whiskey 20, and that is going to align with my SRB when it comes time to promote, right? When I'm doing my board file, I have to make sure that these align. So if I move up in a position to a squad leader, right? Let's say everyone PCSs and I am the next one to be in line for that position, then that is going to prompt my raider to close this NCOER out. And let's say it's a 9-month NCOER. Then I'll move into a 68 Whiskey 20 position. Now, when it comes to fixing your board file, your SRB, you're going to have I'm going to have 9 months of healthcare sergeant 68 Whiskey 20. And then let's say I do a year as a 68 Whiskey 30, then I'll have that same time. So if I'm in the position for longer than a year, right? Let's say I'm in the position for the rest of the time I'm there, You take 9 from, I don't know, 36 months, whatever that math is. Quick math. Somebody help me out here. Then I would have 9 months as the 68 Whiskey 20 healthcare sergeant. Then I would have 9 the rest of the time as a 68 Whiskey 30. So that's how you align those when it comes to promotion. Then next is going to be your daily duties. And this is pretty simple. It's what you're doing, like what position you're holding, what you're doing, what equipment do you have assigned to you, and how many personnel do you have assigned to you, right? So here you're going to see I'm a healthcare sergeant in a combined arms battalion. I support 4,200 soldiers because that's how many are in the brigade. And actually, this is wrong because I'm in a brigade position now. I'm tripping. It would be 600, so 580 soldiers actually. That's how many the battalion has. So I support 580 soldiers, and I'll tell you why in a second. And then I have 4 soldiers, and I have 2 ground ambulance sets, and I have 2 113s, right? And that's going to be the value of $800,000. So that shows what I'm responsible for. The next block is going to be block D, Delta, and it's the area of emphasis. Like what do I specialize in? What do I do? You have med pros, right? Because that's what I do with the 580 soldiers, right? I track their med pros and make sure that everyone is making their appointments and staying green because I am in the medical platoon. Next thing is going to be M3 PT, and this is a medical thing. It's pretty much tracking class 8 durables and stuff like that, and time that it all has to, like all the durables have to be serviced, right? And then I'm a combat lifesaver instructor, and I'm an NREMT because I have to recert every 2 years. Now, this block is just an example of what I am because I'm in the medical field. So you would just tweak this to kind of like satisfy whatever it is that you do, right? Everyone has a different job, so it'll be in accordance to what your job is. Now, next thing is going to be appointed duties. And the rule of thumb for appointed duties typically is that you, if it's there, you have to kind of like put it in the NCOER. So I'm Field SAN NCO, I'm a UPL, and I'm also the company height and weight and on the company height and weight team. So we'll put those there because I'm on orders. Let's say I don't do Field SAN, then I would remove that when it comes time to close out the NCOER. However, I know that I need to shoot for doing these because it's going to separate me. It's going to show that I'm actually doing my thing. Next part is going to be the performance goals and expectations, right? And if you see right here, it says indicate your performance goals and expectation during the rating period. And it's for the rated NCO. So when it comes to me, what I want to do is I want to achieve a 540 or greater on my ACFT. I want to complete college courses and maintain a 3.5 GPA. And as you can see below, I keep going, right? I want to attend as many schools as I want to. I want to be proficient at UPL, my healthcare job. I also want to form a lasting partnership with my team, assigned unit, right? So, and I think that's very important because if you have a good team, you're going to have a good squad, you're going to have a good platoon, and then that leads into a good unit, right? So this is what I expect to do within my time as an NCO for this rating period. Now we'll move into the meat and potatoes, right? Which is pretty much the leadership requirement model, right? We're talking about attributes and competencies right here. So this character is typically going to be, you're going to have your sharp and EO bullet. Those are hands down. They have to be there. That's by reg. And you're also going to talk about your Army values. So these are the expectations, as you can see right here, that my rater says that I need to hit in order to get a Met standard, right? Because I'm a sergeant, so it's just Met standard. So as I complete these, they will list them here on this side. List significant contributions and accomplishments. So that's the beauty of this of the support form. It's a running tally of everything that I've done. This is my criteria, and am I meeting the criteria, right? It's a running tally. So moving into presence, and you'll see like the bullets that he put for me, right? Make sure your entire team passes ACFT and maintain height and weight standards. And this is according to fitness. So you're wondering, it says, I put fitness there because this is one of the criteria, right? When it comes to presence, we're talking about military and professional bearing, fitness, confidence, and resilience. And you're like, well, how can I gauge any of that? Well, good thing about the NCOER support form and the NCOER form itself is that if you go to page 3 and 4, it actually breaks down everything that you need to do. It says parts 1 through 3 instructions, part 4 instructions. So it gives you all the instructions there. So character, as you'll see, the Army values, and it'll give me Army values, and it'll give me a little blurb, and it'll tell me, it'll give me a guideline on what to kind of like write and expect and stuff like that, right? What I need to do. Go to presence, military and professional bearing. Possesses a command presence, projecting a professional image and authority of authority. And it keeps going down with these one-liners, some of them a little longer than others, but it gives you a general guideline on what you need to do in order to come up with the criteria that you're going to expect from your NCO, right? So going back up to presence, I don't have a bullet there. I only have 2 bullets. So I only came up with 2 bullets at the time, or they only came up with 2 bullets at the time. Doesn't mean that I can't do more. It's just that they only found bullets for fitness and military bearing. They'll probably later on, they'll come up with something, be like, okay, so I got something for confidence, because that kind of like showed up in that time. Like, I lack confidence. So here's what I need to do in order to be that confident NCO. So if you can't come up with something at that time, that's okay, because you're going to do this quarterly and you're going to meet with your NCO quarterly. So therefore you will have ammunition because you're going to be watching. So you'll have something to come up with. Under intellect, you'll see that I have to be a subject matter expert in my MOS first, and then train my team. And then he wants me to go for my EFMB, right? A lot of people call it a memory badge. You have your soldier badge, infantry badge, and medical badge. It's a memory badge. Got it. Good. It is what it is. But can you memorize it? That's the question. Can you memorize it? Are you able to go through 2 weeks of train up in the blistering sun like we just did one last month in August? It was hot as hell, 100 degrees most of the days. And these soldiers are out there every day training for 2 weeks, and then they have to perform for an entire week. And then on top of that, they have to do a 12-mile ruck and then do a disassemble and assemble functions check for your M4 after the ruck. I'm just saying, it's a memory badge, but there's a lot to do with it. As you can see, in intellect, they hit every criteria: expertise, sound judgment, innovation, and they have a bullet for everything. These bullets can change. These bullets can get more tightened down, more narrow. But this is a general overall on what to expect, or what I need to do in order to meet the standard. Leads, again, leads by example, support decisions and help enforce standards, extend beyond the influence of the chain of command. It says volunteer for organizational events and within the community. So organizational events is when you have the mandatory fun day, don't be bitching and complaining. Get your soldiers motivated to do it, because everyone knows, especially and military balls, because everyone knows when it's time to go to these events, nobody wants to go. All of a sudden in life, it's become cool to complain. But when you get there, guess what? You're having the most fun. So trust, a bullet for trust, and we'll move into develops. It's prepare self is the first one. It says stay current on your military regulations and change and seek professional development opportunities, right? If you're good on military regs, that creates more confidence, right? And then it says seek professional development opportunities, right? So go to schools, whatever it is that you need to do, request those 4187s. The worst thing they can do is say no or give it to you for a later date. And the next one is going to be esprit de corps. So point is, as you can see this right here, it's about taking whatever attribute or competency and putting that into a bullet form that's going to have your NCO or your rated soldier know what it is they need to do. What are the milestones in order for them to be the best that they can, in order for them to get the best NCOER, right? Last but not least, for the attributes and competencies is achieves, and that's simple. It gets results. As you can see here, if you're watching on YouTube, is at the end of every bullet, it says gets results, because that's what it is. You're just getting results. Set goals and milestones for civilian education, develop a battle rhythm for maximum results. And I 100% believe that every NCO or every person that has a team or every person should have a battle rhythm for the day. You get in there, you huddle for 15 minutes, what's going to happen in increments of time, and therefore you know every day what's going to happen. And then it says win NCO of the month and quarter boards. So let's say I didn't do civilian education, but I won NCO of the month and then I won NCO of the quarter. And I sent my soldier and they won soldier of the month. Now that's another bullet. Oh, I did it, and I also inspired my soldier to do it. So things can change. This NCOER support form, the beauty of it is that it's fluid. So last part is going to be your senior rater comments, like what they see. And as you guys already know, when it comes to the rater comments and the senior rater comments, it's more emphasis on the senior rater comments because they are the most detached from you, right? The rater is the performance, the senior rater is the potential, what they see that you are able to do for the Army in the future, right? So last thing before we close this out is you look at the NCOER and you're like, well, what if I don't like what they say? Good thing about this NCOER support form is that it has initials. We're going to go back up to the authentication portion. It has initials. And if you go to the authentication part 2 where it says name of rater and you go all the way to the right, you're going to see that it says initial date, which is the first 30 days. It's going to say later date, and then the later date, it has 4 quadrants for that. It has 4 blocks. The same thing down at the rated NCO's initials when you sign your NCOER. It also has the same thing, the initial date, and this is just tracking the times that you're being counseled, right? So if I do my initial 30 day, then 90 days from then, within that quarter, I have to do my second one. And within that next quarter, I do my third one. And then in my last quarter, I do my actual annual, right? So this is tracking that you are telling me, or you're being told by your squad leader or your rater what you're doing good and bad. So therefore, there's no confusion. Now, let's say you don't like the NCOER. So there's a process for appeals. Now, the thing with appeals is I go into AR 600-623-3, and if you'll see here under paragraph 3-4, paragraph Gulf, you'll see as I have highlighted, it says failure to comply with any or all support form or counseling requirements will not constitute the sole grounds for an appeal of an evaluation report. So all that means is just because they didn't comply with everything that was supposed to happen here doesn't mean that you can just take this and just be an appeal. However, this does help, because if you're not being counseled on what you're doing, you think you're tracking, and it turns into another thing. But that's the appeal process is for another podcast. But just know that those blocks are there for recording the counseling sessions. All right. So we spoke about the NCOER, and we spoke about the support form. And I just want to go ahead and conclude this. Make sure that you guys are understanding the bare minimum, right? It's a clean cut, dirty. It's a clean cut and dirty lowdown of NCOER support form, because I've been in for 15 years and I've had multiple NCOERs. However, I have not had many support forms, and I think it's the lack of confidence or time. I don't even want to blame it on time. It's lack of confidence or the knowledge on completing one of these. So just understand that the NCOER support form is essential. It's an essential component that provides the NCO, it provides the NCO a comprehensive and objective evaluation of their performance. Right? It supports the NCO and their professional development, hands down. It reinforces and enhances our skills as NCOs, and provides a pathway, like literally provides a pathway for growth and success. So by providing like accurate feedback regarding the NCO's performance, the NCO support form just helps everyone towards the same goal and mission. Like, it is what it is. And ultimately, it's the success of the Army at the end of the day, right? So you complete this support form, it helps do the NCOER, so it saves time, and then you're going to get a better evaluation because you're not going to have to remember things from a year back. And then it helps the soldier get better, it helps you get better, and it helps the Army get better at the end of the day. I mean, it's a win-win. So that's it. I'm off my soapbox. I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you have any suggestions, question, comments, concerns, suggestions on what you want me to cover, if you are a soldier and you want to be on the podcast, just email me at rogersarnt@gmail.com. Do me a favor. Go ahead and drop a like, a comment, download, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. Help me get the numbers up so we can get the word out. And as always, remember, you don't have to embrace the suck if you got the right tools in your ruck. I'm Sergeant First Class Cruz, and I'm out.
Roger, Sergeant.